What happened today?
Well, what happened was Bernie was told by the people in the DNC that if you want to have any of your ideas or have any presence at the convention, you better play ball with Hillary and support her. So Bernie decided he had to do it.
When he had all this leverage with all these people going to Philadelphia, going F you, especially with all the voter fraud, and the fact that Hillary Clinton is basically represents everything he was standing against.
Mm-hmm.
So how do all those people feel who donated money and donated time?
They feel deserted. They feel deserted. They feel misrepresented by the DNC completely. Although I think what they'll find is that some of the stuff, and I'll give you the example of, I was listening to people who were talking about Wall Street, Charlie Gasparino, and he said Wall Street is way worried about Trump getting in because they think that he's closer to Bernie Sanders than Hillary, than even to the center, and so they're doing everything they can. They, in fact, at Goldman Sachs, the preeminent person who was bailed out in the AIG thing, preeminent company, of course, they donated money to the Republican National Committee because they donate to both. But you know how much individually they've donated to Donald Trump? You're not going to believe this number. One person in Goldman Sachs donated $534. That was it. So if you want to know, if you want to support Bernie's ideals, that is that we should have a fair financial system, it's obvious who you go for.
Well, the other thing, too, is Trump is vocal against TPP.
Yeah.
And you know that Clinton's going to hop on board on that so quick it'll make your head spin. And Trump is less likely to be a warmonger.
Right. Right. And in fact, this whole thing that was done, with Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, TPP was just part of it. Remember that Asian Pacific pivot where they were focused on China? And notice, so that they have all these Asian countries except China. So they created this hostility with China, and yet we have no economic benefit from it. So it's a bizarre circumstance of total incompetence on Obama's part and on Hillary's part, and also on Kerry's part.
Well, the corruption is unbelievable, and they just don't even care. It's like, what are you going to do about it?
Punk.
What are you going to do about it? We got Rachel Maddow has our back. And she's
Yeah, exactly.
liberal. What are you going to do about it?
Rachel Maddow, Time Warner,
Chuck Todd,
CNN. Well, of course, CNN is part of Time Warner. New York Times, Washington Post, LA Times. Just go down the list.
So, what's the deal with Bernie? Is he just like, where does your respect for him lie now?
I always thought he was going to cave in because I think he's a nice guy, okay? And so I think he was like, they're like, Bernie, you can't, you'll kill Hillary, by doing this. Are you going to do that to her? And he's like, well, I don't
Look
want
at what she did to him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, but he doesn't think that way. See, he's thinking, well, would I do that to her? Doesn't matter what she did to me. And this is, of course, going to be Hillary's problem against Trump. He's not going to think that way.
The truth is, though, it doesn't matter because she's going to win even if Trump gets more votes because they'll cheat.
Well,
maybe. That's documented and verified. They'll just cheat, and the Republicans don't even like Trump. The only people that like Trump are the people. Are like people themselves or sort of lame Republicans that are kissing Trump's ass. Like the Newt and Crispy and those guys.
Well, I look at things a little differently as far as Newt goes. When Newt realized, and he, he failed, trying to run for president numerous times. So, but think about what he realized was the country has changed and it has not evolved well. And so, and sitting back from afar, he could see that Trump was actually mobilizing the Republican Party, not the Republican elite, but the party. And so people were coming out who couldn't have cared less about attending, a Republican primary for maybe decades, and yet they came out to support Trump because they said enough is enough. We have to do something. So we shall see. I think the election is more up in the air than you think. I'm not saying that they're not going to try to rig it.
Right, but how do you stop cheating and rigging? It's basically mainstream media, all the corporations, all the established Republicans, all the established Democrats, and all the uninformed voters versus Trump. And I don't even think Trump wants it, and I'm not convinced Trump just isn't even a plant for Clinton to win. Like he talked to Bill and said, yeah, why don't you go in there and F up all the Republicans and smear them and stuff, make it easier for Hillary. And then here Trump finds himself actually winning, but you think he really wants to do it? You think he wants to make that lame, low presidential salary and have all these extra freaking responsibilities when he could be on his plane, drinking Trump water and eating Trump steaks?
Well,
he doesn't want to be president as much as Clinton wants it.
Well, I will say this. You're forgetting one giant thing about Donald Trump. Ego. I mean, he puts his name on everything. So his ego is as big as anybody's in the country. And hey, there's no bigger an ego play than to be the most powerful person on earth. So that's his play. Now that he thinks, hey, I may be able to win this. Maybe he originally got into it, just, hey, this is good for my branding. But then once his little message of Make America Great Again resonated, he was like, holy cow, I could actually do this. Now, so the big question will be, who will be his running mate and who will be Hillary's running mate? So your thoughts?
Well, it looks like Hillary's going to pick a centrist bullshit Cory Booker who's taken more money from Wall Street than any candidate, Republican or Democrat. And, in a way, it doesn't really care because it seems like it's already been decided for us. They're just going to put a felon into the White House to just let everybody be a felon because they couldn't knock the House of Cards over because Obama's corrupt. Loretta Lynch is corrupt. The FBI, everybody's corrupt. The whole thing would be a constitutional crisis. And they basically took Bernie and chopped his balls off, but maybe he didn't really have any to begin with. Since he was so close, he could have taken this thing to the convention, and he could have pointed out the voter fraud, and he could have said, look, this bitch is a liar, which she is. But now it's just blatant. It's like, we can do what we want. What are you going to do about it? It doesn't even matter anymore. You might as well just put banana in front of Republic. Just put banana in front, and be prepared for endless war in the Middle East, that no-fly zone going in, nothing happening to Wall Street, TTP or TPP fast-tracked immediately. Fossil fuel industries just having a great old time, and propaganda, and all our internet rights gone. And, for what?
Because she has to be elected.
Right.
She has to be elected so that the knob tweakers can keep tweaking.
Right. So, the Bernie or bust people are like, we don't need them. So I think they're just sort of placated Sanders, and he thought, well, at least I'm getting something for this. And then they're just not going to do any of it. Right.
Yeah, that's obvious. I think we already called out Elizabeth Warren. We know where she stands. Okay, so on Trump's side, who do you think he's going to go for VP?
Well, the interesting thing is who he goes for VP could be who would become president. Like I said, it seems like the fix is in anyway, and Trump has no shot no matter what.
We disagree. We disagree because I think he does have a shot. I think the outrage will continue to grow.
Well, I think he has a shot of getting the most votes, but I don't. I mean, but we already saw what happened when you get the most votes. It doesn't matter. That's the whole thing. Trump could have like 90% to 10%, but somehow he wouldn't he wouldn't win.
He wouldn't
because too many people don't want him. Nobody wants him to win.
Well, that's not true. Remember,
no powerful people want him to win. Nobody
exactly.
in the media, in Wall Street, in the pharmaceutical companies, the endless war profiteers.
Yeah.
None of those people want him to win. No, the establishment Republicans don't want him to win. The establishment Democrats don't want him to win. So even if the people came through, enough people voted for him, he's still, voting machines owned by Clinton Foundation donors. It's a banana republic. So, I mean, maybe Sanders was told that they would like to have his grandchildren live a long, prosperous life. Wouldn't that be great?
Stranger things have happened around the Clintons.
Wouldn't it be great for your grandchildren to grow up and have jobs and a great life? I really want that for you, Bernie. I really want that for you.
Especially the growing up part.
Right. Let's just leave it at that. Let's just leave it at that. So, I mean, it's disappointing.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people feel cheated.
And rightfully so. Rightfully so. But I would say...
money, and then he turns around and endorses the embodiment of everything he allegedly was fighting against. Just to get some crumbs that they're throwing in the platform. But they're not addressing any of the major stuff. And they're probably going to backtrack on all of it anyway.
Yeah. Well, there it is. So, wait, you didn't say who is going to be Trump's VP?
I have no idea. I hope he doesn't pick somebody totally insane. Like that gun-toting Sarah Palin type congresswoman or whoever she is. I mean, Trump has an opportunity if he goes centrist. Or if he goes populist. If he goes populist rhetoric and they attack Clinton from the left, like on Trans-Pacific Partnership and on, making deals with pharmaceutical companies and ramping down war. It's an opportunity for the Republicans to become populist. Because Clinton can't. Because she owes too many people. There's this big web of extortion that goes everywhere.
Are you suggesting that Goldman Sachs isn't a populist company?
Her web of extortion goes everywhere. So, and the other thing is that you're going to get like a crazy right-winger after Clinton because it's going to completely tarnish anything quote unquote progressive. If they're calling her progressive, people are going to go, I don't want none of this, man. Mm. So it's horrible no matter how you slice it.
Well, let's my prediction on the VP will be he'll go with Newt because Newt is an insider. And so he knows how the knobs get turned. And I think he also has been around Hillary enough that he knows a lot of the skeletons that are in the closet. So I think more skeletons will keep falling out. They'll just keep falling out. Nothing will happen, of course. As we said before, she could pull out a gun, shoot someone in the front row, and she would claim it was self-defense, and everybody would, applaud for her.
Or I didn't know I had a gun in my hand. I didn't know that was a gun.
That was a reaction.
I didn't know that if you pull the trigger, it kills somebody. Really? I didn't know. There was no intent. I had no intent to kill anybody.
Right.
I didn't know if you pull this trigger, it will actually kill somebody. I didn't know that. And they go, no intent. Hillary had no intent to shoot that person in the face. No intent. No prosecution.
No prosecutor would prosecute that.
No prosecutor would ever prosecute that.
Okay. All right. Well, there it is.